Hello. Sound check, sound check. You never know if the sound is good or not, so... Can you hear me? Hey there, sounds good. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you. All right, so another Wednesday. As you know, we finished our first PTR last week. We extended it one day, as you noticed, during the weekend. And we are very happy with the results. We got a lot of feedback, a lot of reports, a decent amount of bugs and stuff we want to tweak, but nothing really critical. We had some issues initially, as you noticed, to make the entire testing process smooth. But we got very valuable, important steps initially as well in the first day. Fata Gaming, thank you very much for the subscription. 19 months. That's crazy. Crazy. Appreciate it. So yeah, awesome testing. Again, we want to thank you very much for participating. It's been extremely helpful to push TC in a proper direction and find those issues that we need to take care of before we are ready to deliver. Anuxa, 70 months. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's crazy how time flies. But when things are fun, great, exciting, time flies, right? So yeah, really awesome. Thank you. So as many of you noticed, also we have this little form that you could fill out after the PTR experience. That's also been very helpful for us to identify various things, good and bad, and we were very happy to see overall very good ratings on how you enjoyed that first step and the mechanics out of the different things. So again, very helpful to get that kind of feedback. It's taken a little while to go through and put all the data and feedback in the proper ways for us to analyze. I think we got over 6,000 pages of feedback, which is quite a lot, as you can imagine. But very good, obviously. We tried to pinpoint, obviously, we had good ratings on things where people enjoyed it very much. And of course, we were always very keen on identifying the lower ratings on specific things to see what could be the problem there, or what could be improved and just made better. So that's awesome. Thank you for that also. Goodbye, Haas. That's sorry to hear. So obviously there are bugs and issues, right, with the PTR, and that was the reason we do a PTR, right, with TC. Obviously we discovered issues with the prominence gains, and again, we want to find these things now in the PTR rather than we go live, right? So that helped us very much to secure the prominence gains and monitoring that in a much secure way. So yeah, that's an important thing, obviously. Yours, the PTR was great and a lot of fixes went in fast. Also shout out to Nebulous for helping so much with it. Yeah, awesome, thank you. And yes, indeed, like we said, it usually takes a few hours, right, for us to identify main things. And the team was quickly at it and deployed a patch very shortly after to cover those main issues so we could get going. So that was awesome. So great teamwork, guys. We thank you all for participating, because that's gonna make TC obviously much more secured. Let me see here. So Why is it called Territory Control and not Sieging Weapon Patch? Cannot see the control aspect in this. Yeah, so obviously we notice a lot of the feedback were a little bit confusing when it comes to how the system works in detail and the intention behind it. And I had quite a few chats with different guilds to get the insight of that, and obviously where we can improve our manuals, information on how it's working. And we also were lacking a few very important components in the first PTR that gonna make quite a lot of that more clear, which is eyes on supplies, defense values, and alert towers component that allows you to get information in real time pretty much on what's going on with your base or near your base. You can also take action. So that is obviously an important component to promote the quick interaction, because right now during the first PTR you didn't have a clue if you were under attack or if something happened with your towers. You couldn't see the defense, you couldn't see anything, so quite blind. So we could only test all the phases of building, constructing, and managing supply runs and all of that. In this next PTR that we're gonna open up soon, will give you the eyes, alert tower functions, tower defense values on your user interface. So that's gonna give you heads up, like if someone is building a siege tent nearby any of your structures, you're gonna get an alert, and you can obviously take action much more efficiently rather than have to run around and scout randomly, which is not obviously convenient, right, if you are spread out. So a very important component that's gonna give you intel and eyes and information pretty much, so you can engage and protect when it comes to that. Yeah, so we also discussed a little bit. So we wanted to make sure the gain functions worked correctly as it's built, and that's why also we didn't have any sped up gains initially. And already there we found a few severe issues, which was obviously extremely important we find and discover and deal with now. And then shortly after there, on the following up patch, we increased the prominence gains, and we also are adding a specific NPC only for the next PTR session, where you will be able to obtain basic resources to go crazy at constructing things without having to gather those resources, just to make that process smoothly. Holy cow, we got a hype train going, guys. Thank you. Who were subscribing here. Will be live. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. 2 months. One out. Why not? Thank you for the subscription as well. I always butcher everyone's name, so yeah, you're warned. All right, so yeah, that's that. Choo-choo. PTR2 have new server solution to allow for larger player capacity. Yes, so the plan is to enable the final network system. We want to enable that early on in PTR2 to make sure that is running correctly, because we had to disable huge parts of that live to not have instability or server issues. So there's I would say three components that we're looking at in PTR2, sorry, on top of the next phase of TC. We're looking at the network part. So obviously the network part is nothing that you will notice most likely or experience in any way, but it's important for us to have some stress load and see these parts running on PTR, so we can monitoring that and make sure it's as stable as possible before we then push that live along with the TC patch. there's also another thing. So we have a frequent node crash that happens every now and then on live, and we have now identified where this goes wrong, and it's been the same node crash constantly over a month of period of time. And now we finally identified in what area it goes wrong. And some of you may have experienced this on live with a disconnect. So if you are on that node when that issue happens, there's a backup system that takes over the crashed node to allow that the server continues without rebooting. But that may result in disconnect. So you may have experienced that when playing on a node when that happens. So obviously our goal is to solve that node crash. But also the next step is that when this happens too many times without a reboot, the backup nodes goes a little strange, easy put. And Sebastian have a plan to refresh that system in a much better way, so the backup system can run infinitely, which hopefully allows us to not have to, do specific reboots when this is an issue. So that should overall give us a much better steady up, status on the live server, along with the huge and last final planned network optimization that just simply allow large-scale population spread out on mainland. So yeah, that's gonna be an important component, and hopefully it doesn't give us too much headache. It's a very complex thing when it comes to the network multi-threading system that this is. It gave us a few issues last time we were actually running it live for a moment, but we had to disable it because we saw new issues arriving after X amount of hours. So hopefully that will be deployed and fully fixed, and we can confirm that as well on PTR. So we also want some just general login, run around, do anything in the game on top of the TC. We may also deploy the 2 next groups in elementalism. All the function is finished. We are in polish phase, balance phase when it comes to VFX and a balance. But I think it could be a good opportunity also to put that early on in PTR, so you can also play around with that, and hopefully we can also get feedback on that if there's something standing out being either broken or obviously very bad balance wise. So we're trying to cover that as well to be so it's quite a lot going on for PTR2, but yeah, important things we want to have set so we can be completely ready for PTR3, which will be the final phase for the TC testing. So yeah, Piers, thank you for the subscription. Holy cow, 24 month. That is nuts. Holy cow. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's see if I got any questions here. Peter was really lagging and run. So when you mean laggy, do you refer to any stuttering when running around in the world, or network lag? So I just want to be clear what you mean. I suspect and guess stuttering, as in FPS freezes. And yeah, we noticed that have gone up a little bit on a PTR, and we also identified the main area that this may be caused by, which we're working on currently as well to improve in PTR2. So hopefully we can have a confirmation that we're back to the normal level streaming stuttering that we still have. So we have to be careful, separate the different things. We hopefully know which part we're looking at, if it's a new or the old level streaming. We talked about level streaming multiple times, and the so-called not node lines. That is a confusion part that I've tried to also explain. So the stuttering you have on live when you're running around, there's a specific line, which is the level streaming line, and you will notice a freeze or a big stutter, right? But since PTR2, I think some of you are referring to similar type of stutters, but not on those lines. I hope someone confirms. And this is tied to TC structures that we have identified specific things that loads on distance that causes these stutters. So we work on that to improve it for PTR2. The node lines don't lie. Lummy 3, come on, man. That's just silly. No, I explained the difference between a node line and level streaming multiple times, and hopefully soon the majority will know the difference. But it's been a term used by some veterans. It's the node line, and then bam, it's stuck with everyone. Everyone calls everything node lines. But you can't identify node line in that way. It doesn't cause your client to stutter, which level streaming line does. Yeah, all cities are being worked on and reworked for Unreal Engine 5. So you can expect much improved in general performance where you suffer performance today. We have identified everything. We have a huge plan that we started working on months ago and just steadily and slowly progressing on that. And the plan is to have those much improved for the Unreal 5 Switch. Excited for PTR2. Love this game. Awesome to hear. Why is it so important to rename it? Rename what? What are we renaming? Sishka Boom. The Quebec, I just responded to that when you asked it the first time. I'm not sure if you heard me. But when we ran PTR1, we found those issues and bugs. That's why, you know, we are following up with additional tests, right? So that's how it goes. You run things on tests. Obviously, we start internally on tests. And then we get a lot of reports and things we need to work on. And then we do another patch. And when we've gone through that several months, we put it now on PTR, where hundreds of people are going through it, which is obviously much more powerful and effective to get things tested. No line level streaming, is that semantic? You know what we talk about. So that's the thing. Why I'm asking these specific questions is so I can know what you're talking about. Because when someone say lag, that is usually a network latency issue, which is not what we're talking about now. So that's why I'm trying to just clarify the different terms and what happens, so you can help us with the proper feedback and information, and we can identify it and confirm it and also work on it. Because if we call everything a node line and lag, you know, we have nothing to work with. So I hope that explains it. A stutter, a FPS drop and freeze is very different from lag, which is network lag, right? Can we get a chicka boom, eh? Yeah, no worries, the Quebec. So we're planning to phase out the current NPCs that are in the old system that also give you guys less control and can also cause issues that you may have experienced on live. So we are hoping and planning to phase them out pretty much. So you will have time to prepare. Oh my god, another one. G-Man, thank you for the prime. Are the siege equipment, mining siege tents, going to be given high defenses? They seem really squishy. Yes, some of the values wasn't 100% correct, and we are following up on that in this next PTR. There will be more hit points, and the defense value is going to be different on wooden and stone structures, and yes, siege machines. So you will see a difference for sure. And obviously that's also important that we do get your new feedback on how that is experienced. And we're trying our best and also explain intention behind some of the logic that you're going to test. For instance, the supply towers, there was a huge misunderstanding and lack of information, I would say, from our side. I've been talking about them a little bit, you know, over the months, explaining, going through the TC systems and the supply line system and all of that. But it's it can be quite overwhelming. So, you know, obviously it's a challenge for us to make that perfect manual and feedback and information so it's as easy as understandable as possible. So we're obviously working on updating the manual as well to try to make it clear. So I just want to say it now when we're talking about it. So the supply towers are meant, they're more meant to be seen as a capture the flag component. It's not supposed to be a long-term secured base that you can hold infinitely. Should be difficult to siege and take from each others. These are, I would say, a little bit more like capture the flags spread out in the world, and you don't need to hold them permanently to do upgrades and so on. You only need to hold them for the moment simultaneously to make those achievements, and then it doesn't matter if you lose them again. So it's only that window of coordination they're needed. But obviously they have important bonuses, so obviously they're always good to control as much as possible. And now we get the intel and eyes and real-time information about the towers. You're going to have a much better opportunity to see what's going on, defend them, and act accordingly as well. Because yeah, some people also, you know, may have thought that everyone is supposed to hold them to be able to do these upgrades and, you know, remain on that level, which means only a few guilds in the world can simultaneously be on a higher tier. But that's not the case, as I mentioned. You just have to coordinate time window when you do that operation correctly to make the upgrade, and then, you know, it doesn't matter if you lose them again. So they are meant to be easily captured from small groups as well. Small groups should be able to participate with any supply tower conflict in the world. We got a lot of good feedbacks around them as well from you guys, so thanks for that. And the plan is that we're gonna increase the towers, a few towers spread out in certain areas where we simply need a few more, and so we're working on that as well for PTR2, and we will follow up and see, hopefully get in a good spot. So the plan is, if we add too many towers and people are you know, convenient with just having one close to them and they ignore the rest, and you know, there's no conflict to, you know, reason to go further because there's so many, obviously we will lose the conflict and challenge around them, and also the challenge to actually do these upgrades. So we want to find a sweet spot. We aim to have that as a challenge and interesting component. And then when you're going for upgrade, that's when you really have to coordinate. So that's what we're aiming for. We're still working on the guild systems issues. There's quite a few of those that are main bugs that we have on the highest prior order of bugs. I can't say, you know, we're making some progression, but not fully done yet, so I can't say that it will be fixed 100% at this point in time. But obviously that's a very important bug that we are working on. We'll be able to hold siege machines with multiple horses or just larger pits. So when we build a wagon system, we plan to support that for specific things, such as also moving siege machineries, but that requires the wagon system, and we do not deliver the wagon system for the TC patch. We need more development time, and we don't want to hold back the entire TC patch because of that function. We are getting requirements for it now along with the siege system, so we are, you know, progressing with the wagon thanks to that work. What you're getting is the man pushed, so you have to move them around as a group, mobile version in this next PTR2, and so those you will have. Yes, the Quebec, those are the two groups for elementalism. Should we expect higher FPS with the Unreal 5 upgrade compared to now? Yes, in general, because we are working a lot on the world when we're doing the transition with Unreal 5 and to utilize it as effective as possible. So you will see less stutter. The level streaming are the main component that we are working hard on. And as I mentioned before, the areas where everyone get poor FPS, such as especially some cities worse than others, we are working on those to make sure that you will gain FPS. So yeah, in general, it will be a much more smoother transition running around in the world, and those cities should run smoother also. Then we will obviously also offer you the function to utilize lumens, which is the new lightning shadow system, which is quite hardware demanding on your GPU. But if you have the latest generations of cards, that should run quite decently. But if you have older generation of graphic cards, that will be a heavy operation on your hardware. So that will be an option for you depending on what hardware you have. Yes, later on we plan to offer expanded housing. So that will be on the upcoming roadmap discussion list. There are so many areas to choose from, and we think it's extremely hard to pick in all those areas. So the right thing to do, we think, is to reach out to you guys. We will present the groups and areas, and you will be able to cast your votes. What do you want us to focus on upcoming roadmap? And if houses, expansion to TC housing, Clade inspired versions, if that is something the majority wants earlier, then we will focus on that. So it will be in direct control over the order of things, I would say, that we present to you. I think supply line, supply tower, supply run having similar names is a source of confusion. Maybe. I can see that, right? I mean, we that designed it and worked with it for a long time, it stuck, right? We can see it. But yeah, obviously, going through it for the first time, it can be a little bit overwhelming. We can fully understand that. And it is a large, complex system in so many ways. But as soon as you get into it and have the final feedback eyes in game that we are adding now, I think it will be much more clear. But yeah, supply, I would say, the general term for the buildings that have supply is bonuses to your TC, while supply run is obviously when you are refilling your supplies in the cities. But yeah, I can see your point. When you say phase out NPCs, are you referring to Equus and Priest? If so, what happens to my 10 pets? What about the gold pairs spent? Yeah, so you'll be able to transfer those pets, because you will be able to, obviously with TC, build your own stable and hire your priests, and you will be able to set your own rules on the priest. You have better control, because right now anyone can use your priest, right? And that have caused a lot of headache for a lot of guilds, as you may have known. And the stables, same thing, anyone can use them, right? If you access them, and with the new stables, you are in control who should access them. So we are giving a window where you make the transition to the improved functions of those. Missouri. What kind of benefit will we have for holding towers? So the main source right now is defense. So one very important system that we think is a really good upgrade since the first game is that we all talked about ninja sieges in the first game, and it happened, and it was a problematic scenario, especially for those that are a little bit outnumbered and those that didn't cover all the time zones during a day, and it kind of got stressful to play with that, right? So we started this conversation about how do we prevent a ninja siege, or how do we improve that situation. And there were a lot of discussion with the community. A lot of people suggested, copies from other games with hard line siege windows where the clock ticks down and then everyone knows this is the time the siege actually works, and then out of that time the siege doesn't work. And the majority also agree that that doesn't really say Mortal Online, right? That's a little bit far away. So we came up with a system that is kind of like a hybrid of that. And this is the supply structure functions. So everyone has access to these towers and a supply storehouse. Everyone have access to those, even house owners. And the keep owners have one additional building, which is the supply lines. And those are pre-bases placed near any keeps. I'm sure you guys have seen them, right? A wooden thing and a stone thing building. And these buildings adds directly defense values to your entire TC base. So if you have constructed these and hold a few towers, you can actually go above 100% defense on your TC structures. And that means you can't just be instantly sieged because they can't damage it, right? You have this power influence and magical defense bonus from these supplies. So the first step for the enemies will be to knock down towers or supply lines or storehouse. And when those are knocked down, the defense value slowly starts to tick down. Obviously, having alert towers and such, you as a defender will get the information. There will be a warning. The guards are sending a guild message that we now see enemy siege tent is being built 100 meters south of our tower, or anything like that, right? And that means obviously you can take action to try to defend. So if you lose these supply buildings, slowly over time your defense will decay, and you will see this in real time as well in your user interface. And that will show you the window of when a siege can become more effective, right? You don't want to start a siege when you have close to 90% defense, because you would have to waste a lot of resources to knock that down. Obviously, that's up to the players, but this is the hybrid siege window system that we have built to fit Mortal Online. So that's the main resources, and it also increases your supply caps. And it is prepared to also give additional interesting, very different types of bonuses to your guild. We feel that we don't want to stress out some crazy bonuses now simultaneously as we do work on these mega content features. So we're quite careful there, but we are very keen on hearing suggestions from the community, because sometimes you guys have really good ideas that can fit the system. So we are open for that, but the system is prepared to give anything bonus wise to the guild holding them. So the first step is we deploy them, giving these base defense and prom cap increasement and eyes in the world, because your alert towers connects to them and can give you information about anyone trying to do something close to them. So that's the first baseline and importance of them. But the next step could be that we want to expand them with various types of attractive, small, controllable, but interesting bonuses, right? All right, let me catch up a little bit here. I think I'm a little behind here. Do you plan to add more supply towers to the map? There are currently very few, at least in some areas. Also, do you plan to add more keep runes to the game, such as in the jungle or in the Fab Tindrum area? So yes, we are adding a few more supply towers. Like you said, there are some sparse areas where we can fit a few more, and we also want to add a few more spread out in the world just to make sure that there are a few more options. But like I said, we don't want to overdo it, because like I said, we want to make sure that it doesn't become like, well, we're happy with ours, you're happy with yours, now let's have peace. And we're never going for anything more because we're happy with this, right? We want to find that sweet spot where it's always good to grab a tower, right? And it gives you this important boost. So, but yeah, it's a difficult line, it's hard to say the sweet spot numbers. But in general, like I said before, initially the majority wasn't really, it wasn't clear that you should see these towers as non-permanent assets for you and your guild. It should be more seen as capture the flag assets, easy to grab and steal, right? And with that in mind, it got a little bit more clear for a lot of people that, okay, then it makes more sense. And you only need them simultaneously during the upgrades. You don't need them permanently, right? So, but still, we saw in the feedback documentation from you guys that the majority want to see a few more towers. So we're working to add a few more at least now. Set Lynch, I mean, you can go ahead and send feedback either on the forums or to one of our guys, Rob Moore or so. I mean, like I said, we have 6,000 pages of feedback since the documentation, thanks to you guys. So we have collected, the most valuable, important points so far, which is really awesome for us to go through. I still don't understand at all how supply works. Sullivan, so after my conversation right now, is it a little bit more clear? Because I think I read this late after my explanation. Yeah, I'm behind, so I'm gonna jump down a little bit here. But yeah, to the other question, we don't plan to add more keep spots. We plan to add more continents where you will see more keep spots. All right, I'm jumping down. I'm gonna miss quite a few things here, but yeah, I'm talking in the past now. Capture flag assets easy to steal is such a good idea. Kudos to Henrik. So yeah, that's the plan, right? So we have everything from long-term assets content to short-term conflict assets. We want that spread, and also for small groups to large groups, and that's exactly what this component offers. So that, I guess that covers the update since PTR1. I can go to the next point here. So PTR2 is planned for 13th. So that is next week already on Thursday, if everything goes as planned. So we're already close to the second round, where you're gonna be able to test the two groups of elementalism, as I mentioned. There may be some VFX that are not fully final, but I think it's still important to get a balanced round, because you can help us find stuff like that. And then obviously mobile siege machineries, the ice, towers, defense, and those important components that we talked about. Reno, sorry if I missed your question. I have already answered your question actually now when I read it again, so it's not me ignoring it. I just answer it. I guess you join in after I answer it, but I'm gonna answer it again. The guild bugs is not fixed yet. It's one of our highest priority bugs, but we can't reproduce it, right? And when we can't reproduce it, it's a pain in the ass for the coders just to go through 1,000 lines of codes to try to figure out where does it go wrong. But that is being done. Obviously, we need it fixed, right? We all know how important that one is. So we are gonna have it fixed for TC. That's obviously our, requirement for us, right? But we can't hold back the PTR sessions if we haven't fixed it yet. I hope that makes sense. Is it better? Rhino, is it better? I'm not deflecting anything. I never have, never will, all right? Based on the first test, there is guys still on schedule for TC release. Yes, so far we are on schedule. As long as our PTR doesn't show us something crazy, we should still be on schedule for our release. We haven't set publicly the date yet because of obvious reasons, right? We want to go through the PTR sessions first. Demoman, yeah, having PTR now up and running and that works very efficiently, then yes, we're gonna run future content like that to also have balanced rounds within the community. Are the plans to ensure strongholds aren't deleted by Zergs overnight? With these, did you hear when I talked about the supply functions that are the siege function window that I talked about a few minutes ago? That entire discussion comes from Ninja sieging. So that's why we have those systems, right? And we know that it wasn't clear without the information in the game, right? You don't see the defense and therefore you don't understand easily why those are the siege window mechanics. But you will have those eyes with this next PTR, so that will be much more clear. Push notification for siege attempt is a good idea. People will make their own anyway with Discord bots. Yeah. That is true. Will loot drop increase, such as in chests, as the respawn time seems really long? So we have a few issues with our current main chest loot system. And it is that long and sparse for a very good reason, and that is because of, you know, that they can easily be abused in a way where it doesn't, you know, isn't balanced. There's a few functions we want to add to those chests that allows us to easier bump them up without flooding things. So yes, they will be improved, and not only that, we plan to add over 1,000 new spawners, loot and such throughout entire Milan. I think we even up to 3,000 even. And this is the main content along with Epic Patch. So when Epic Patch gets to be released with Unreal 5, you're not just gonna have the whole engine, world, new lighting system and all of that. You're also gonna have a more populated world with various content to explore and you know, find different types of loots. Thanks, Henrik. Good to hear that. It's on the list. We need it fixed before TC. Glad you're all on it. Yeah, absolutely. You know, our awesome GMs have tried to manually help you with all of those issues during the PTR. I'm sure you have got their visit if you had that guild issue, right? So we're doing everything we can to make it as smooth as possible. So yeah. When is TC coming? The golden question, Fire Strike. So we have our internal dates, right? But we don't want to reveal those dates publicly at this time because obvious reasons, right? We don't want to feel the stress and pressure, and we don't want to disappoint if we need to rearrange it, because it could easily be rearranged on the days currently, and we do that internally. So we are announcing the PTRs a little bit before, like now. Next week is already PTR2, and then after that we're gonna announce the PTR3, and after PTR3, depending on how it looks, we will have a date for TC going live. So we need a little bit more time before we dare to push that date, right? Sassy, eh? I'm not that sassy. With ease, did you get my message regarding the supplies for your question to ensure strongholds are not Zergs overnight? Because I respond to that very elaborately. The siege mechanic window system, which is the supply structures. Did you copy that, or did you come in later of that? Because I don't want to repeat myself too much and bore everyone in here. That's why we tried to make a recap video and put on our website the day after. So if we missed anything, we highlight those questions, and you can always go back and listen to those. What changes or important information did you gather from PTR1? There was a lot, right? So again, thanks to your initial test, already the first hours, we found severe issues with the prominence gains and such. That's why we didn't want to have the sped up gains, right? And that was very valuable that we caught that in time. And various issues, you know, the placement, which was obviously one of the biggest feedback, was the placement rules are too severe. Very difficult to place the siege tents near enemies or wherever you wanted to place them. Also, TC structures were difficult to place. Some people that had their stronghold in a little bit slopey location, but looked quite clear, couldn't place much around it. Obviously, you know, a disappointment if you can't use your space, right? So we've done already some great progress there. We are testing that right now with the new functions and rules for the placement. So obviously, it's more important that you can place, and it doesn't have to look 100% perfect. It's better to be able to place and use rather than not, because there's a little small stone in the way, right? So that was one of the most frequent feedback. The placement was too extreme, too severe. So obviously that made it very clear that we need to work hard on the placement rules. So we're going to test that to make sure that it is greatly improved before you get it in PTR2. And hopefully you can confirm it as well, right? That's very important, because that's the entire TC component. It starts there, right? Random balance in various areas, very valuable feedback as well. And of course, a list of bugs that was reported, quite a lot of feedback. Some of them were valid, some of them were maybe not suitable or not really clear due to some of the information that is lacking on the first PTR. And also, like we said, you know, we had this form that you could fill out, this Google form where you could also rate the different things. That also gave us a very good insight how you enjoy the different contents and so on. So really valuable, really good first PTR session that will absolutely improve the patch and obviously improve PTR2 as well. All right, Dutch. All right. OSTC so far away when at release it was a few weeks away. I'm baffled. So yeah, we talked about this a few times, right? So the plan was, if we could have a Steam release without pure chaos and madness, the plan was to only work on TC and release that next. So there wouldn't be any main content other than TC. But when we found issue after issue that occurred, it's this thing also when it comes to games like this. Sometimes we can release a feature that everyone having a blast. It's really good. There's no main issue feedback or such. But after a certain amount of weeks or month even, slowly people are finding issues, or they find the balance being bad or something. And then slowly that grows over time. And then all of a sudden, why have you not fixed this when it wasn't a concern to start with? Do you see what I'm trying to explain here? That so some of the things isn't clear until you have played with it for a couple of weeks or months. And since we had to pause everything, we couldn't work on a single component code-wise for TC when we couldn't even manage the login systems, right? So I dedicated an entire stream explaining that entire phase, and it was very unfortunate. And I've tried to express our how do we say it, unfortunate steps, and that we can only improve and gather at the information and do the best we can, right? So yeah, very unfortunate we couldn't stick to TC and work only on that and deliver that as soon as we could. And we had to start with the a lot of core functions, and while our specific coders worked on those functions, the other developers had to work on things that they can work on. We have different developers in the team that can work on different things also. They can't always work on the same things. I hope it makes it a little bit more clear, at least, what I'm trying to explain why. Yeah, so some of the defense values, I would say a lot of the defense values are being changed as well for PTR2. We gather information that yes, you could siege a building or a keep quite fast. The general feedback was it was too fast. Now, people didn't have eyes on the siege components such as supply structures, so they weren't a main factor in play here. But yes, we are still tweaking those numbers. We want to make sure that it shouldn't obviously be too fast and easy to siege a keep or a stronghold. Those are big bases, sturdy bases that should be a big commitment to take down. And if you get the supply structures component, and you can see that defense bonus. I mean, there's no cap on your defense. You could go to 150 defense value, which means they have to crush a lot of supply structure from your base, and then it takes time for the defense to tick down. So that is obviously when you also get alert, right? I'm not talking about barrels hypnostatic. I'm talking about spawners also, obviously. Mobs, threats from easy to difficult, challenging, spread out on mainland. There are too many large areas that are too empty. Brazy, I have shown the bear armor already in previous stream. Right, let me jump down a little bit. I'm always falling behind here. Improvement placement option for housing compared to TC patch. Yeah, PTR2 will have improved placement. I did mention that a minute ago. I'm sure you heard it. I don't have a prepared client where I can jump in and show something today, I'm afraid. I've been very busy with various things today. And it's already next week until you get your hands on things, right? So it isn't far away now. A siege weapons and supply tanks going to be given high defenses. Yes, we are tweaking those numbers for PTR2, so you can give your new feedback on that. Any thought on making daily cap for gaining prominence, so Sterling won't farm it 24/7? I'm not sure. Do we need that? Do we need to cap prominence work if someone wanna work on that? Do we really need that? We are planning to have races when it comes to prominence gains with a power of equal to guild members to make it just. Biama. Upgrade Vada, it needs something. I mean, like I said, we have analyzed the entire map where it's, empty, lacking things and so on. And the plan is to do a big session to add more various things on the world map. And there will most likely be something near Vada also. The Quebec, indeed. It's very helpful. The VoIP spell mute is on the list. So as you know, we are delivering elementalism, and then the plan is to go over the old Magic School to do some updates. There are a few areas we want to do updates on and try to finalize that as well before we move on. So I'm not really covering banned player statuses or obviously responding on why someone is banned, but there are very specific reasons why people are banned, and that is when people break the rules. And obviously the rules needs to be applied to everyone, right? We can't just let someone, if someone is popular or famous or cool, to not follow the same rules. So please have understanding that I won't really obviously go in depth here and call people out and hang them out why someone is banned. And obviously this is not the place to discuss banned players, but hopefully you understand or respect that. Brazy, I already shown the bear armor in previous streams. You have to go back. And plans to increase the territory radius on the stronghold. We are discussing that. Yes, we are maybe allowing a similar area upgrade commitment as the keep owners has, but obviously limited. It's only the keep owners that have unlimited growth ability until they collide with another keep's radius and then have to deal with that however they see fit. But obviously we wanna make sure that all stronghold owners, you know, any other guilds can also make quite some use of TC. So we're looking at those numbers to see what we can do. Ever been to Hilspea? So look, we know that obviously some cities are more popular than others when it comes to nearby resources, spawners, and so on. We know that. We have analyzed Meerland. And like I mentioned before, we do plan to add over 3,000 new spawners spread out on Meerland. And all cities should have something nearby, right? But those are also starting cities, which means they will be more protected, higher security nearby. Along with that, obviously comes the risk-reward balance. You won't really tap into high-end content in those zones, but you will tap into some protection if that's what you want for or looking for. And then obviously the no man's land zones comes to play. TC comes to play. It's the player's decision on all of this. And this is out in the world away from these zones where anything goes, obviously. It's up to the players. And there's also a bit more risk along with that reward. You know, a little bit like EVE Online, right? From the high sec to null sec kind of approach. It's quite clear we need protection in newbie areas. We have new players starting daily, and depending on when they pick, where they go, who they interact with, they either stay or drop the game. And we can't just have that, you know, dice thrown out. So we are improving that system, the entire crim system, security system, and we're promoting high risk reward areas, and for those that really want engaging PvP out in the world. So that's going to be a big update along with Epic Games patch, and it's very important for the future of the game and to make sure we get new players that actually have the opportunity to become a long-term player. And that makes sense for, I will say, everyone, right? Belson, thank you for the sub. 7 months. Are you prepared to discuss the taxation system at all? Will there be a tax cap so that keep owners who can't currently be contested but were allowed to trade keeps can kick all players out of their region with no risk? So obviously we are open to discuss anything. If there's any issue or concern, now is the time, right? During PTR, when we actually focus on these things, a balance, function that could cause a very bad outcome or severe outcome that needs tweaking. So make sure, you post whatever you find or think, and you can always reach out to Robmo, our community manager, that are very helpful when it comes to collecting feedback and data also from players in the community, and try to highlight those when we have our weekly meetings and go through those things. So any concern or major balance issue or such, obviously we are happy to hear now. With TCP enabled for the main cities for the upcoming PTR phase or TC patch. How do you mean enable for main cities? Yeah, quality of life functions on a broker. Absolutely. We have quite a few of those suggested from you, and we 100% agree. We just need to put them somewhere on our upcoming patches. I can't say when exactly, but absolutely it will happen sometime. All right, let me jump down here a little bit. I can't say when the armors will go into the game for the animals. We have a bag patch prepared, so you can always use the bags on heaviest animals to be able to utilize heavy supply runs efficiently. Amber, yes, we have already made improvement to the placement system, and we are testing that right now. And you will also help us obviously to confirm, is it good enough finally? Because yeah, that was the main feedback, I would say, from most players, that the placement was way too sensitive, too severe. Okay, I'm gonna jump down. I see the same questions that I have covered. Obviously, pets armor, we're looking into a cost along with the defense buff, right? Such as speed penalties on attacks or movements. A little bit similar to how players get affected by heavy armors. So we are obviously following up on that type of balance. Yeah, let's see. So okay, I was more behind than I thought. Sorry, guys. I'm jumped down now, so now I'm up to date here at least. I'm gonna see if I can show something a little bit here from our PTR stuff. You can get more lowland Mulva, so there will be more mount types added. I mean, a lot of everything will be added with the epic patch. Yes, PTR2 is scheduled for next week 13th, so on Thursday. If everything goes as planned, that is the date. So we haven't confirmed when it comes to more characters on account. It's one of those golden questions we have talked about over the year, and we also explained the view, the reasons, what we rebuilt, what we changed to promote higher commitment and reputation into one character, more value, more skills. The veteran system is on the way. With all that said, again, we have a system we designed also in mind for this that we call the Diva system, which may allow a sibling or shared status character on one account. But that is only on some early design state. We haven't confirmed it because there was a lot of issues with the first game where people felt that they didn't felt committed to their characters. They were just random names. They jumped in and out on them, and they feel like a job to have supplied themselves with these characters. And we wanted to change that. And just like Star Wars Galaxies, one of the golden MMOs out there, we used the same system where we gave more value and depth and investment and reputation into one character, but also stripped away the multiple character systems that also Star Wars Galaxies did, to promote better player interaction, more commitment, and more player trading. So again, with all that said, we fully understand that still people are interested in still committing to additional characters. But that's something we can't just very quickly create and make it happen with all these systems in mind. We need proper time to go through it, analyze it, what it means, and how it can be done in a proper way, if that is the route we want to go. So yeah, again, that's the response currently. We are not working on that system, as you can understand. We work on TC first and then Epic Game with Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, it's either a nay or yay, but I want to share that information at least so you know again. I'm gonna see if I have a little clip from our testing recordings of a little our new machine that looks really awesome. Gonna see if I can show you a little bit there. We should let us use that map. It was nice. You mean a PTR map? That is the new map when TC goes live. A very highly refined, beautiful map that you will all have access to. It's gonna be helpful, I think, to navigate in the world. It's easier to see the surrounding and navigate in a better way. We are looking to add a free look, most likely along with the VR support that we will do sometime after Epic release. Let me see here. Oh. Okay, one moment, guys. Where is a meme? Don't waste development time for that. 2 people use it. No, Silicon. Actually, there was a huge RP community that was trying out Mortal Online during our stress test. And BAM! That wasn't small. And BAM! It was extremely entertaining. And I mean, freaking sake, Lyric was one of them. And Lyric is one of the biggest streamer in the world. And it was extremely entertaining to watch. I mean, obviously, we won't see the majority running around in VR. I fully understand that. We have done VR games in the past. We played a lot of an experiment with VR. So that is correct. The majority won't run around and play the game in VR at all time. However, there are components and areas where VR really shines, you know, where you sit down, have meetings, play table games, you know, have war table room meetings, planning, and just RP playing and watching behind you while running forward. Those are areas where it actually is extremely cool, exciting, and one-of-a-kind experience, and it fits perfect with Mortal Online because it's first person only. But yeah, you know, obviously, like I said, it's not that we are committing the entire team in weeks or months into that, right? But like I said, Unreal Engine 5 have really good support for VR hardware. So obviously we're making use of that work. There's only a few things we need to do for the first step, which is just to render the game properly with headset motion, still using keyboard and mouse in that first step. So that we can do without too much development effort. And that is a very cool experience, and you can do all kind of stuff. So Mortal Online 2 is a game where over time you don't just run around and fight, you know, high tempo things where maybe VR is least used, right? Because it's quite a strain, right? But there will be gameplay moments, like a lot of RP moments, like I said, when you sit down, play different games, where it's actually a perfect experience to see your players, see your facial expression, talk, VoIP. That's really cool, and a relaxed enjoyment without too much stress going on. So you see, there are still really cool opportunities to show Mortal Online in a really cool settings, in a unique settings. And I mean, if you have the hardware, you will try this, and obviously you will enjoy these areas if that's something you're interested in. So I hope that makes sense. Uh, and just the cool thing that you can experience the freaking world in first person VR. It's a very unique experience the first time. You drop your jaw and are really amazed. But yeah, running around fighting, obviously it's quite a strain, depends on how you handle it, right? I myself can do like an hour in high tempo running around stuff. After that I need a break. But sitting down playing Texas Hold'em or Blackjack and just enjoying and looking and talking to people around me, that's a really nice experience. You know. I'm a full-time VR dev, don't do it, this complete game design paradigm. We already done it, Poison Hand. we had VR testing in the first game when there were less support, more of a struggle. So like I just said, we have done it, we have the experience, and we only need to commit very little time to make what I just said possible. And that opens up a floodgate for VR RP lovers to enjoy those components the more we add of them. But like I said, it's coming when the time is right. And we have a few components that obviously is high prioritized order. Everyone is a game dev indeed. I mean, we done games in VR. We're quite good at it now. We have done an entire game called Kitten in Unreal Engine 5 using only VR for PlayStation, Xbox, PC. So we have the experience. We are not completely fresh. Is the PTR map going to be tuned a bit? My keep is in the water according to it. Yes, there's an offset we experienced during the PTR. And obviously we will adjust that offset. Lamas, nothing wrong with picking flowers, nothing wrong with that. You can do that with VR if you want. Should I buy you a pizza, sir? You should buy me one. I'm in Malmo. The two groups are planned to be tested in PTR2, Dodge. The two, again, I always forgot about the names. It's not the entity group, but the two others. Volume and walls, right? No VR, for love of God. I just spent 5 minutes explaining what VR means for us in our game and that we will have it for those reasons. And you don't have to worry. It's not like we're gonna spend months of the entire team or don't know what we're doing or, you know, sidestepping. We have it under control and we will offer VR when the time is right for very good reasons. But yeah, it's not the first thing we're gonna deliver, so don't worry, don't worry. When will PTR2 be ready? Next Thursday is the plan. So it's the 13th. Let me see if I can show you a little clip of the new machine. Just managed to get something very quickly, briefly, and obviously gonna get your hands on it and see it more in detail. Let me see how the hell I find my window. see. Maybe. Oh! Oh! What the hell? Where the hell is the window? Why the hell can't I can't freaking access the window. What the hell is going on? Wood almost leaked stuff. One moment. You know, I'm a stream noob, right? So give me a little moment. I don't know why the hell I can't move the window. What the hell? Every time, man. God damn it. Okay, I have to add a new window then. Let's see. Maybe like this. It is unlocked. So I don't know why it's acting like that. But let's see. Okay. Now I can at least put it somewhere here. Maybe like that. Beautiful. Right. Let me just show you a short clip of the new Siege machine, which is pretty cool. Let's see if I... Right. A little machine. A little machine. God damn. God damn. So those are the mobile versions you are getting in PTR2. It's really cool. So what I wanted to show you now, but I couldn't show it all. You're obviously gonna have it next week anyway. But there's a lot of cool stuff here. So when you go to the handles as players to give the manpower to push it, it walks over there and you know, to the handle. It doesn't just warp and snap to it. So it's such a cool little detail. There are some desync issues when it comes to the accuracy of the hand positioning, because when you pull forward or back, it's like doing this, adjusting to it, and it looks so freaking cool. I love it. I love it. You're gonna see that next week, right? So these machines also have the wheel versions, the mobile versions. You can be up to 4 people on each side to push it to get the full speed, like here. Or you can be 1 person and be crippled heavily in speed. But I really love when you attach to it. When you see that, you're gonna see what I mean. It's one of a kind. It's something you see in single-player console games, that kind of polish. It's really, really nice. You know, usually you just snap and warp and are statically pushing it. Here you're actually dynamically walking there and pushing it. You're gonna see what I mean next week. It's really beautiful. So yeah, it's really cool. So both the Halecaster and Manganon will be in wheel versions, the mobile versions. Yeah, like I said, they're desynced in the hands here, so ignore that. So the person sitting is in control, right? But he can't move it without people at any of these handles. So that's the cool part. So yeah, I love it. Really cool. And when you see it live, you're gonna see what I mean when it comes to stepping up to the handles. It's really cool. Will miners be making and selling the ammo for these catapults? So you use the siege tents when it comes to producing the ammo for these, and there will be different siege tents this time around, the next PTR, for the different types of ammo. So we have the normal boulder thing, right? And then we have the urn that will explode with fire. And then we have the bolts for the headcasters. Can a catapult be fired while people pushing it? Yeah, it's fully dynamic. You know, all the mechanics works separately as intended. Please make walls, but just make them easy breakable. So as we mentioned before, we don't want walls online again, but you know, we have the discussion open when it comes to maybe wooden, weak palisade walls, limited amount. You know, maybe that could fit and work, but people obviously loves to wall off things, and they will always try to wall off things, and it became a terrible problem in the first game. So we need to keep that in mind, right? As soon as we open that box, it's out there, right? And it's always harder to remove something like that when it's being relied on and fully implemented, and everyone is, you know, putting it to use, and then bam, someone finds the greatest ways of, you know, walling off things even in a limited way. So we're careful, right? But like I said, we can always see if that's something that could be done in a way where it's not breaking play interactions, open cities, locking content and stuff like that, right? So that's why we're careful and not starting with it, because Mortal Line 1, first everyone was amazing, everyone was building and being creative, and then bam, slowly over time it became wall online. You never saw a single soul or a city anymore. Everyone walled them inside a territory, walled things off, walled dungeons off, walled spawners off. They farmed inside their walls, they sold it inside their walls to the NPCs that had infinite gold, printed their gold, never left the walls, and you know, that's it. They only came out to when there was a war or such. So not so good over time. So that's why we are starting without them this time and making sure that doesn't happen, and try to promote other things. And we want play interaction, you know. There was an area where we didn't have the walls when people built their cities, and people visited the cities, talked to each other, knocked the doors, and it's a very cool play interaction. And people love that. And then bam, a month later when we got the walls, that never happened anymore. And people start to say, hey man, I missed when you could go to a city and talk to the people. It didn't happen anymore. So yeah, obviously we have that in mind, right, from the first game, to make sure that we don't go the wrong way, right? Yeah, you know, we had them rather easily breakable, especially the first tiers. But and then we have higher tiers, so everyone upgrade to higher tiers, and the only way to do that is to put a siege weapon, and all the smaller groups, the more casual, couldn't commit to that, and the strong ones, veterans, could commit to that. So it became a bigger gap between smaller groups and veteran larger groups. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good. So this time we're starting without it. Like I said, maybe there is room for like 10 wooden palisades that you knock down with an axe, you know, even as a solo player. So you can't just run in and kill you. You see him hitting the walls before he actually engage with you. Maybe that's something that could be suitable. But then also, you know, will someone go down and smack them down always just to annoy people? I don't know. So you know, we need to consider all those things. What about server stability? I feel it ain't at the desired level. So I talked about that early in the stream, Stain. The 3 component that affects the server performance and main capacity. So I talked a little bit about that in the introduction phase of this stream. I don't want to bore everyone in here by repeating it, but we are deploying some important components just shortly in PTR2 that we're gonna follow up on, and that will be very important for the main capacity performance and also stability when it comes to the node we have going off every now and then. But like I said, so this is the core pack of TC, right? That we release in this very big TC patch. We want to make sure we get the core right and good and balanced. And after that, you know, TC will most likely grow extremely much over the years, right? So depending on what the people want, we're gonna open up that community discussion in the different areas. One of the areas are TC related content. If everyone thinks small wooden fences is something we need, you know, then we will look into that, right, to see if that could fit in any way. If everyone wants clay-inspired buildings or new types of services for their cities, we will make that happen, you know. So we won't decide which one we will start. We will present the areas and the things we think makes more sense for the majority of players. I think, I'm guessing out loud now, right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the majority of TC interested players would like us to add the Metroid drop system as the next thing expanding on TC. I'm sure you guys know what that system is by now. I talked about it a few times before. But I'm just guessing that is something many want to see. Palisade is the word you are looking for, Henrik. Yeah, palisade. I did say palisade before, right? And then someone said fence in here. But yeah. Henrik, I'm really enjoying the game and gradual additions you are making. What sort of feature excites you the most for the distant future of the game? One thing that excites me quite a lot is our ship system. There's some really cool ideas we have there that I think will expand the game world additionally, and we will have a lot of new types of players that want to be pirates and sail the seas and have sea PvP and such, sea explorations, island explorations. It's been growing the past years where more and more people have been talking about that, and we have some old design on some really cool things, how you build your ships and how you can, you know, put weapons on them, and there's more and more features that also ties to this eventually, like we have a whole underwater continent. Obviously those two goes very hand in hand, as you can understand. So that's a feature I'm quite excited about. There's tons of features, but ships have been growing on me as well as of late. A lot of people have been you know, looking for that system in Mortal as well. But again, if the majority wants ships as one of the main feature on upcoming roadmaps, or if the majority don't want it, then we will try to, you know, follow that order of things. But our fish system is going to be one of a kind, and it's going to be exciting. Yes, obviously deep water fishing and such, deep water encounters, deep water pirating. There's going to be obviously some interesting component tied to ship content, right? RCH, yeah, they have a nice ship system, absolutely. Sea of Thieves have a nice ship system. I have personally analyzed them all to see what they have to offer, and obviously they have some really cool stuff, right? So we are inspired by some of those games, but there are some things they do poorly that we want to expand the crap out of things to surprise the world. You know, our unique mortal touch on some of the things that I think will push it further, a little bit more interesting. Tena, yeah, we found some issues from art apartment after a while where the growth of expanding building varies, which makes it a little bit trickier to obviously carefully plan exactly the position on the final results. That's a little bit unfortunate, obviously, and we're trying to do our best to make sure that the gate, you know, the entrance and such always remain and it grows with logic, so you can kind of plan it ahead of time. And we also show the fully upgraded version when in placement mode, so you can see that indication. We're also trying to add a visual indication of your area of influence when you are in the placement mode, so you can very easily see, okay, this is the range I need to be within, so it helps you, and you can see that also. So there are some obviously very good quality of life and feedback function we want to add as soon as we can. Nave Yacht Club. With boats in the water, portion of the map going to be expanded. So there's gonna be water added obviously around Milan, that is deep sea water area that allows you to sail the planet. And the plan is that you will be able to sail it as you would sail on Earth, right? If we start in one side and, you know, end up in the other side eventually. We're looking into the water system to see what is the best commitment. We also want, so now when we're actually stepping out on Unreal 5, there's a few systems, there's some water system that we're looking into to make sure that we have the correct base of things. So it's, you know, smoothly prepared for all those steps when we add those features. Moving a building. We don't have the system to move a building, as you know. We can deconstruct, destroy, and build currently only. So I'm not sure. I mean, sure, we can always build anything, right? But it's always a prioritized order of things. If this becomes like a huge concern or huge demand that we should be able to move them easily, we need to build the support for that. We only have a system that allows you to pre-see the placement and upgrades, and then you need to commit to that, right? So that's at least how it's going to be initially. But like I said, if the entire community demands a movement tool, then obviously we need to look into that, right? We have talked about fast travels very many times, Quanix. We have very good understanding and information about fast mechanics, but we also have explained why fast traveling is a big threat to many core features of Mortal Online. That's why we haven't really jumped into something that could jeopardize those features that are actually partially coming in now, starting with TC. So we're not rushing into something that affect that dangerously currently when we're starting to adding the component that actually rely on your positioning, transporting things, calling reinforcements, having sieges, having, you know, betrayals, sending friends, sending, you know, hiring soldiers, all of that gets 100% affected by fast traveling in a negative way, and we want to make sure we don't remove all of that bloody nice juice of content, right? I think it's about time to fast travel. Hell no, you already rarely see people in the wild. Squids, please. Let's open up this little thing. Let's do the ammo giveaway before we run in too late. So exclamation mark ammo 2. The gates are opened, and you will sign up for the giveaway. Follow and exclamation mark ammo 2, and you may be the winner of today's giveaway. What country removing when implementing fast travel ghost mode? Sieging. If you have a base and you are on the other side of the world and there's a window for a drastic defeat or victory, and you can in 1 second go there with a mass army, just think what that entails, and you have the answer there, right? It's like a sheet, and bam, you're on the other side of the world and can affect the outcome of an entire siege. And like I said, it's not meant to be like that. It's meant to be regional based conflicts, and traveling is a big impact of all that balance and outcome of those conflicts. It's not a Mordhau deathmatch where you sign up and go straight to the conflict, or, you know, there are some other games like that, right, where you teleport straight to the conflict and participate in a deathmatch. And those can be fun and great for hours, days, weeks, but after a while they drop the value behind them, the commitment, the outcome tactics, positioning, and all of that. And that is unique to Mortal 9 2. And more people get back to that being the best experience ever when they have taken break in some other games that offer that instant teleport battle. For instance, what was this MMO that was released a few months ago that a lot of people jumped to and had a lot of fun in the fights, but they slowly came back one at a time and said, you know, it kind of starts feeling pointless, and we want that backbone commitment value that only currently Mortal 9 has to offer. And that's one of the big thing, right? We fully understand that there can be a lot of downtime, a lot of traveling, and of course we're trying to do the best to minimize those moments with nothing really happening, and we work on that as well. So, you know, we have the supply runs. We're gonna see groups and guilds running from cities to cities trading. There will be hijacking of that, pirating. So a lot of this is being expanded out to be more exciting and interesting. So be careful. We don't want to interfere with these very important balance factors when it comes to siege and transporting and moving around in the world. And we will try to add more encounters and options everywhere in the world, so there's more of everything. So there's not the extreme need for always being able to travel across the world left and right within minutes. There should be something of conflict and interesting near your base, wherever it is on Milan. And with more players, there will be more regional localized conflicts, without a doubt. So yeah, that's just some of the things, right, that needs to be considered, and they have a great impact in all of this. So we are very careful, right? We don't want to wreck with the core feature and what actually makes Mortal 9 unique and good in the long run when it comes to that unique reward that comes out of the balance out of a lot of this as well. Yeah, I mean, walls and such, like I said, yeah, Gloria Victus was one of those, I think, right? Cool instant action, you know. But after a while, feels like, why, man? Now we're building up the suspension, you're preparing, you're moving, transporting, ambushing. Everything is more natural, dynamic, and rewarding and satisfying. And like I said, when we have more hotfix, more conflicts, more players, more groups near you, you will have less of the moving around, I would assume also, right? So everything thrives with a growing healthy population, with all of these mechanics being added to the game. So we're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I see the point when you say traveling as a ghost. Like I said, if our base is being close to blown up and I beep my mobile and in 1 minute I have an army showing up from across the world and save my base. What the fuck is that? You know, and obviously the attackers say, where the hell did this group come from? What the fuck is this crap? And they rage quit for the day because they had a victory in their box. Or imagine, holy shit, I heard supply reinforcement is coming, they're halfway here, we need to hurry the fuck up, we need to do this, man, cut them off, do this, do that, bam, like a freaking movie. We want those kind of excitement and player skills planning, you know, intel. They're coming, they're here in 10 minutes, we need to do this and that before it, and then get a hell out of here or we will be smashed. All of those natural components gives a hell of an experience, a one-of-a-kind experience, epic movies, epic everything, and that's unique for Mortal 9. It offers that every now and then thanks to these core rules. If we start hijacking and removing those things, it becomes this static shit and the teleporting and minimized, and it doesn't go to the peak anymore. We need some lows to go to the peaks, we need some changes to go to the peaks, or we just go blend. Do we want to go blend? Do we want to go blend, guys? No, 90% is absolutely not playing as Mortal. There's this belief that Mortal 9 is only a PvP game and everyone shouting is only PvP players. The PvP players are actually not the majority of amount of active players in our game, but they're loud and they are present and they are looking for fights, obviously, because they're PvP players, right? But there is this misconception that we only are PvP players in Mortal 9 too, but that is very far from the truth. I said it many times, but the majority of our active players are not on Discord or the forums even. They play the game after work and they play for a few hours and then they log off. And many of them try to avoid PvP because, you know, they may not be good at PvP, so they get destroyed in PvP. This is a true sandbox game that have a lot to offer, and it is brilliant in PvP, so obviously we're gonna have a lot of PvP interested players because it offers a lot of free rules when it comes to PvP encounters. That crowd, the Crim system is being reworked for Epic Games. We talked about that also. Some very important updates are coming with Epic Game Patch to help new players aboard and give them a fair chance and educate them, guide them, and introduce them to guilds. So yeah, absolutely. Keep rules, please. If not, you'll be like every other game. Keep Mortal special. We try to always stay true to the red line, right? I mean, there's always room for modernizing, updating, and giving better mechanics, right? We have had very much little of this in the first game to a point where it just became an annoyance. So obviously those areas we're trying to push forward to make sure that any new casual player could get a fair chance to understand Mortal, get into Mortal, and then find their area of interest in the game. If it is PvE or PvP or crafting or exploration or whatever that may be. Fast travel to blue cities, 24-hour cooldown. But then they can still come to me, you know, to the closest city and be there on a natural speed because they teleport in the world. So we're still removing the component that if you have intel, you know that their guild ally or guild reinforcement or whatever is across the world. Now is the time to siege, you know, or whatever that may be. Now is the time to steal their relic because they're spread out in the world because of intel. Intel and information is very important in Model 9. But if they bypass all that by teleporting 90% of the distance, again, it interferes with those components in a negative way. So we are careful. We don't just want to jump to those features and functions without making sure that everyone needs to understand what it removes from the game that the majority likes and loves, including the PvP players. So it's a very thin line that sometimes everyone doesn't consider it, what it actually means. We've done this a lot in the first game. A lot of PvP players wanted this change, this balance. And we said, okay, you know, you're veterans, hardcore players, let's do it. Great, awesome. And it plays really good the first few days. And then after 1 week, by the way, let's revert it. It wasn't that good. And we did that back and forth so many times until we look like fools. And like, we can't continue like that. We need to change the setup and how we move forward because we're spending all the time on things we're reverting eventually. And we are not a team of hundreds of developers that have that luxury to spend that kind of time. So we're trying to, follow the red line, explain everything very carefully, and then run a PTR to make sure we have them solidly balanced and tested it, and then move forward. And hopefully this will make the games more reliable, so people know that it's in a proper direction at all time. Yeah, I think most of you know what I mean. Right, let's, if you just tune in, follow an exclamation mark MA2, and I will do the giveaway in 1 minute. Matt's had a magical way to possibly make a Clade reroll thing that fits in the game in a very specific rule set way. Because one of the things we are very careful about that we said many times, we want reputation and your name to matter, right? And that's something that's happening. You can become famous to be a very awesome crafter, the best weapons, always delivering, 100%. Or it can become famous for being a thief and doing stuff, or becoming famous for just killing anyone on sight. And if you can change the name or clades and so on, obviously you're not that person anymore. You're not famous for that anymore, and people will not know who you are anymore. And we don't want that to happen, right? So we need to make sure that your reputation, name, status remains. That's up to the players, and that also makes quite a few players think twice before committing to some horrible crimes and being outcast or marked by the player base or whatever. So yeah, we need to be careful about those things also. I like to explain Settle Lynch because sometimes people say, why? It's stupid. And then when I elaborate, okay, it makes sense. And then sometimes, well, I even agree. Or they still don't agree. Sometimes it's good to have those discussions, I think. All right, is it time? It's time. But fast travel only naked still gives you the opportunity to prevent a siege or change the outcome of a siege, like I just explained, right? So it is a big interference in fair fight when one have done their intel correctly. They know this is a time window. Bam, override by a freaking Terminator teleportation. So we're careful. We're careful about that. We're careful about it, okay? We want to respect the players' efforts in this Intel commitment. And the majority likes that and are happy that that is respected. Well, everyone is busy signing up for the giveaway. How are you today, man? What's good? Good boy Haas, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm getting both stressed and excited for approaching the next PTR. We have a few things we still need to finish, but hopefully we do that just as planned, so we can deliver and still be on track of our schedule, our internal schedule. But yeah, overall I can't complain. I haven't had migraine for a month, so that's something. I usually had it every second day. I do take some pills that actually helps. And then I also try to take control over my brain and thoughts of stress to control it better, because that's the main factor of my migraine. I know that I care so freaking much about this project. Obviously, committed 16 years of it and everything committed, invested in it. Obviously, it's a big commitment, right? A lot of stress on the table. And I know that my migraine is 100% linked to stress. So I'm trying my best to take control over my stress, my thoughts, and do whatever I can to have that energy on the top and have that level on a good way. And so far so good. Completely agree with you. That's good to hear. MMO is really just a RP game with PvP. It is a RPG game, that is correct, and it's a true sandbox MMORPG that makes it even more unique compared to most other games, most other MMOs on the market. Did you love the volume this time? Yes. Let's see if it's good. Shall we roll it, guys? I think it's time. We're over the 2-hour mark. I try to keep them at 2 hours so I don't bore you to too much loops. As long as you're making big change to the game, we need a way to respec it carefully. So that's the thing. We are very careful about changing the game. What we are doing is adding to the game. That's the key word. So that means your build, your gear, whatever you have, should be respected as much as is possible. So you never have to feel like, oh, well, that's now my build is totally crap because of all these changes. We're very careful about that. What we are doing though is adding new weapon groups, new features, new abilities, expansion on the characters, which obviously gonna push everything forward as options. And maybe something you may want you to go on other routes, but then you should be able to respec obviously on your character. So we try to have that approach moving forward. Oh, is the boss of MO2? I haven't played in a while, but with TC, the guild may be a comeback. Thanks, Henrik, for your hard work, and Team 2. Nerds Half-Life. Awesome to have you back. You're not alone with that thought. A lot of people have been away on and off. A lot of people taking a break. A lot of groups, guilds have taken a break. And the majority of them said that we will be back for TC. And that's it. And yeah, we're getting closer to delivering TC finally. So there should be some very exciting conflicts popping off on TC Day. It's going to be busy little bees walking around in the world and doing TC stuff. So that's going to be very exciting for us devs to monitor and see that progression. You never know what the player's gonna do and how. Hakar, yes, we are gonna add such quality of life on a broker. It's been suggested by the community a while back, and we tried to cover a few of them in upcoming patches. We have a prioritized order of things. Obviously, first bugs, nasty bugs, and a core feature we need to deliver in a good, balanced way. And then we have a little batch of quality of life functions. All right, guys, giveaway time. It's time for giveaway. I'm scroll down, up to date. All right, let's go, guys. Giveaway time. Good luck, everyone. Here it goes. See? The volume is good, right? I hope. Chickaboom! The wise of Wolvololox. Congratulations. The wise Wolf Holox. Chickabam. Let's see if he's here. The wise one. The wise wolf. Rigged, eh? Always rigged. Let's see. I'm gonna take a look at one thing. Why isn't there a limit on how new Twitch accounts are for giveaway? Well, when these giveaways, we have new visitors showing up, and you know, we want to give new players a fair chance as well. But obviously we may have different rules when we have some other big giveaways that we have had in the past. So yeah. But obviously we're looking over these things as well if we need to adjust those rules a little bit in upcoming giveaways. But yeah, I will do the giveaway now. I have a response from the Wise Wolf. Let's see, where the hell do I have the keys? Where the hell? Where the hell? Can't find them, guys. One moment. Where the hell are my keys? I lost my keys. Here they are. Alright, got it. Whoa. The Wise Wolf, can you respond to my DM and you will have the code. Chicka-booms, eh? Why does it chat like does not show ammo? I have checked him. The one I have as a winner. Sign it. He's in the list. Oh, sorry. I clicked the wrong freaking button. Where the hell did I have the keys again? Here, okay. Alright, congrats. Are you an MO2 player veteran or Mortal 1 veteran, the Wise Wolf? Hellos. Only the best for you. Thank you. Please come again. Indeed. So that was the giveaway, guys. So we are on ending notes. Rocket, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't have time for dog shit comments. Multiple passwords. I'm not sure about that. So, you know, now it is we're getting the all specific functions, building services with all the ranking set up to make sure you have control over all of that. And, you know, if we see something we need more, that we absolutely need, we will just expand that list of functions. Can you make an appeal for voice chat ban? Yeah, I mean, you can always contact support for any questions and they will respond within 24 hours, or our internal rules, if everything is, you know, as intended, schedule, work-wise, so on. Arcane, yeah, we've heard that it will be nice to be able to toggle some of those clade abilities. I have checked with our coders and it's sadly not a quick, easy thing to add support for. So we put it on the wish list for now. We always have to prioritize, you know, obviously bugs and game features, content in a certain order, and the time needed to spend on some of those things that are nice to have, but maybe not critical at this point. So yeah. Ladder Addicts streaming MO2. Who's Ladder Addicts? Have we yeah, I seen him stream, right? I think I raided him before, but yeah, I guess it's maybe time for a raid today, guys. Are we done, or do we have any more questions before we raid? Why does this game run so badly on good GPU? Because you are CPU bound, and we are optimizing that greatly for Unreal 5 transition when we patch Epic Games. So it will be better. Once this is in the game, everything else is icing on the cake. That is true. A lot of people are, you know, they want the cake, and then we get a lot of icing. And this Spotify soundtrack when? I'm not sure, Jake. I need to look into the whole procedure of putting a soundtrack on Spotify. I haven't really looked into that. Fart emotes? What the hell? You're gonna hear those farts left and right non-stop. Do we really want that? Cannot gain on something? Why are you dodging the real questions? I never dodge a question, Style. You don't know me, do you? I never dodge a question. I always respond on everything. That's it. Once. And then I try not to repeat myself to bore everyone else. There will be a PTR2, yes. That is our planned final overall test. And we actually plan to smash that PTR2 in a specific way to get more stress on the server, to get final measurement and data, to be, again, as prepared as we possibly can for the TC launch. So we have some really cool plans for that one, and we're gonna announce the details again shortly after PTR2. Silky, come on, man! I never dodged anything. Dodged no bullet. What engine is the game currently running? Unreal 4. And we're moving over to Unreal 5 after our TC patch, so we're getting closer and closer. Hypnotic Static, you shit talker, you. You shit talker, you. So we're looking to possibly set rank access on chests. And I'm not sure if you will need additional passwords then. What type of spell or emanation? Can you give an example? Emanation. So I always forget to mix the group names, but the two groups we are putting on test are volume-based and wall-based. Yeah. And the final group after that to deliver the last point is the entities, which is the pet elemental familiars that are very specific behaviors compared to other pets. Was the surprise you were referring to for PTR2 last stream, the elementalism spells, or something else? What surprise were I referring to in last stream? I'm not sure I remember exactly which thing you're referring to here. Can't recall, sorry. Yes. The light spell is included. Snowball, I already responded to that one 2 times. That's why I haven't responded. Like I said, if I'm not responding to a question, it's usually because I read it a few times already and responded a few times already. So sorry about that. But that's why we do a recap as well, and I try to end it when I loop the questions. So, or people gonna get bored, right? We want everyone to jump in here and feel a little bit refreshed by the discussion and questions, new content, and then we try to move on, right? But yeah, it's a high prioritized order of bug that we absolutely will fix. I can't speak of the dragon at this point. Runs on Java. Java the Hoot. Alright guys, it looks like we don't have anything else new, exciting to discuss, so I think that is my cue then for a little raid. Shall we... have I raided Ladder Addicts? I think I have, or haven't I? Should I do a poll or do we raid Ladder Addicts? I think I raided everyone currently streaming once at least. I try to do that, right? What do you say? Will be live. I have raided, yes, it was quite recently. Do you want a poll and pick one? Or... I'm quite sure I also raided Laradict, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Shall we do a poll? Or what do you say? No, Hessler TV just talked crap about me, so why should I give back? I raided everyone once, and then he started to trash talk me like a personal vendetta, even though I never met him or know him or anything. You know, that's just crap. You know, I don't like crap. Do you like crap? You're the newest person. Let's do a poll. It seems like we can't let him know, Henrik. Nah. I mean, you know, as long as people follow the rules, you know, I don't really interfere with anyone. It's not my job to do. Let's do a quick poll. I'm getting tired. My brain is slowly going down. Let's see, who do we got then? Raid poll time. All right, 2 minutes, guys. Vote now. There's two. There's Hustler, Ogmir, and Hustler. Sweet, small, kill, middle boy. Hustler. Ogmir. Hustler. I've never seen Hustler. What do you mean, Pepper? That's why, Henrik. Thank you, Rush Non. Thank you. Where is Hustler TV? I can only do a poll for those that I added. That is the maximum amount. I don't know how to add more as poll options. And we have more streaming than that list allows. 1 minute left, guys. Cast your vote and we will do the raid. It's between Lourdes and Abira TV. Two solid streamers, very nice people, do always some random stuff. Good streamers, good content. A lot of addicts have been streaming quite regularly as well lately. I did raid him, I think it was last or the previous one. Also really nice guy, and becoming a better and better Mortal player with every day, without a doubt. Also seen Sir Bong Tokes quite a bit streaming regularly. So yeah, we have some really nice streamers. Yeah, I recognize all of them. All right, we got a winner with... Or no, it's not done yet, but we got a winner with 4. Avira TV it is. Avira TV it is. PvE streamer, I mean, she usually do, at least when I watched before, she did a lot of bounty hunting. So I think she do very random things, which is cool and nice. So we can see variation of things in the world. Alright guys, I think this is it then. It's raid time. I've been streaming this since started playing it, and the community has been so welcoming, helpful and fantastic. Thor the Titan. I recognize your name as well. I'm sure I've seen you streaming. I usually peek over our streamers and tune in to spy a little bit on the first-hand experience. But yeah, that's awesome. It's really nice. We do have a really good community. We always have some odd ones as well, and some, I don't know, crazy ones perhaps, and murderers and all kind of things. But it's all, you know, come together in a true sandbox game. We just have to adapt to the world and embrace the variation. All right, guys. Raid time. Can we vote again? Krakow. No, 1 vote is enough. That's the raid. And yeah, so next week we'll see you again. And we have PTR2 already on Thursday. So only a week away. And then we are killing it with another PTR session. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for all subscription, donations, and your questions as always. I'm looking forward to have you in PTR2 very shortly. We have some solid stuff we want to proceed with. That's going to be exciting because we're getting more to the alert conflict mechanics, Intel ICE mechanics, which will promote good player interaction, I'm sure of. All right, let's do the raid. Let's follow Avira TV, a very awesome streamer, as I said, very nice, and always do some fun, entertaining stuff. And whenever I'm going into the game, wherever I am in the world, she managed to find me very quickly, and always an awesome adventure. All right, have a good night, everyone, and here goes the raid. All right. Bye-bye and good night.